Good morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. All right, so we are in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. It has already passed over Florida, is back out at sea, is now a tropical cyclone. Cruise lines are still trying to recover from the aftermath. We still have ports that are closed, ports that are still doing assessments. Tampa's still closed, Canaveral is still closed, Jacksonville is still closed. Only the port of Miami is open, and that is causing some shifting in cruise lines. It's causing a little bit of scrambling. They are having to come up with alternate plans, and this has resulted in a lot of changes for Carnival Cruise Lines. So Carnival Cruise Lines brand ambassador John Heald, he put out a video early this morning talking about the changes and plans that Carnival Cruise Lines has, what it's going to have to do for the Carnival Paradise, the Carnival Elation, the Carnival Sunrise, and the Carnival Glory. So I am going to be playing that video for you. That way you get the information directly from the source. You get it directly from Carnival Cruise Lines. That way there's no question. There's no misinterpretations. You get it directly from the proverbial horse's mouth. Now, we are going to start with the Carnival Paradise because the Carnival Paradise has got a real interesting scenario. They are supposed to go back to Tampa, Florida. That's where they sail from. The port's not open. They've already been out an extra day. They have to find a place for the ship to go. So they are actually going to be docking in Miami today. But this is a pretty unique situation because for the folks that want to get off the ship in Miami today, Carnival is going to bus them back over to Tampa, about a 2 to 3 hour bus ride, so those folks can get back home. However, you don't have to get off the ship. Well, let me rephrase that. Everybody has to get off the ship in Miami and go through customs. Once they go through customs, you can either get on the buses and go, or you can actually get back on the ship to the 14th. So some passengers can get a couple extra days out there. The Carnival Paradise will then go back out to sea, just kind of float around, do some strict sea days until she docks again on the 14th, disembarks everybody that remained on the ship, and embarks the next sailing. The next sailing for the Carnival Paradise is October the 14th. This coming Monday, it is going to happen, but there's a question of where is it going to happen? Is Tampa going to be open? Is the ship going to be able to go back to Tampa? If not, they're going to be embarking those passengers in Port Canaveral. But let's get all of this information from Carnival Cruise Line's brand ambassador.
Now, the storm itself, we heard from the Fleet Operations Center late last night, has been downgraded to something called a tropical cyclone, and it's making its way back out into the Atlantic. Now, this means that as of yesterday, which is Thursday, as of Friday morning when I'm recording this now, it's been impossible for the Port Authority, US Coast Guard, etc., to do their port inspections to give us the green flag to bring the ships back in to Tampa and Port Canaveral and to Jacksonville. Miami is open, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But that's what's going to happen today. There will hopefully be inspections, and hopefully we'll hear some more news on Port Canaveral, on Tampa, and on Jacksonville. But it is meant a lot of things have changed for 3 or 4 ships, and that's what I wanted to go through this morning, so you have it all in one place. I'll do this quickly so that as you're eating your breakfast bowl of grits, this morning I've already had my grits, and I can take you through what's been happening. And I want to start with the good news. The good news is that I can tell you that for Tampa and Port Canaveral and Jacksonville, the 3 main areas that were affected as far as home ports are concerned, one piece of good news is there are no reports of any flooding in the parking lots. So many of you wrote to me worried about your cars. You wrote to me from the ships saying, what about, but we're very glad to say that as of this time, there are no reports of any serious flooding in any of the parking lots, which is fabulous news for those that left their cars there. So what's happening today? Well, let's start with the Carnival Paradise, if I can, please. Carnival Paradise, which was supposed to be back home on Thursday, is today spending the day here, and it's not here in Hockley, obviously. be nice if it would be docked over there. But it's coming into Miami today. So at approximately 9:30, Carnival Paradise, instead of going home to Tampa, will call in Miami. Now, what will happen there is the ship will come alongside. Every guest will clear United States Immigration and Customs. They won't have to take their luggage off if they're staying on board, and I'll come to that in a moment, but they will need to go through immigration, every single guest. Now, yesterday, we sent a note to the guests on board. We sent a letter, and of course, all the details are in there. But to give you a quick précis of that, we gave the guests two choices. We realized a lot of them want to get home to their families, to their pets. I didn't mention pets yesterday and got a severe slap on the thigh. So let me mention the pets now. I hope they're all okay. So they will have a chance to have a complimentary shuttle service from Miami to Tampa. It's about 4 hours. And then they can get in their cars and drive straight home. Or if they wish, they clear through US immigration, they'll come straight back on the ship again, and then they will stay on board until Monday. And on Monday, which is the 14th of October, the ship will dock, and we'll come to that in a moment, and then they can leave. So basically, we're going to give them a chance to go home by taking them in the shuttle buses. If not, they will have a chance to stay on board, and they can, of course, purchase the Cheers program and the bottomless bubbles at the pre-cruise rate. And we will also be giving people a chance to have complimentary internet service for those days. So it'll be interesting to see how many people decide to spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on board, an extra 3 days, or whether they'll go home to Tampa. And I'll let you know. I will tell you, because I think that's the sort of thing that many of us find fascinating. So once the ship has left Miami, then I can tell you how many guests will be on board. But we are going to take great care of them. We'll get them home, and or they can stay on board. Now, this means we move forward to staying on Carnival Paradise for the October the 14th cruise, which is Monday. And of course, we can't get the ship to Tampa today. We've been through that. So we will be either taking Carnival Paradise home to Tampa. Fingers crossed it'll be open on Monday. And if not, it will be going to Port Canaveral to embark the next cruise. Now, we sent you all this information. Our Chief Communications Officer, Chris, and his team have sent this information to you. But I just wanted to recap that. We're going to monitor the situation, and we will embark the Carnival Paradise cruise on the 14th, either, hopefully, fingers crossed, Tampa, and if not, Port Canaveral. And we will be in touch with you over the coming days to confirm once the port inspections have been completed, and then we know exactly where we're going to put you. So stay tuned for that. But I'm glad to say that for those people on the Carnival Paradise on October the 14th, you will have a cruise. It's just depending now where embarkation will be happening. I don't have any news on that yet. We will share it as soon as we can.
Next, we have the Carnival Elation. And the next cruise for the Carnival Elation is going to be a 2-night cruise to nowhere. Carnival has already said, look, we can't get anywhere. There's no place that's open, available, we can get to in the amount of time that we have. They're simply doing a short 2-night cruise to nowhere.
Let's move, if we can, now to Carnival Elation and Jacksonville. Now, obviously, this was another area that was hit pretty hard. And so we're still waiting for the port inspection to be carried out. Now, we also, of course, sent you a very detailed email yesterday. And if you didn't get it, please do check your email, because it's really, really important that you do. Now, because of the inspection not taking place, we unfortunately are not going to be able to do the full cruise. So we are going to be embarking you, and you are going to be given a shortened cruise. It's a 2-day voyage departing tomorrow, October the 12th, from Jacksonville. Now, you're going to be getting all sorts of things to do these 2 days. $100 on board credit. You're going to get the 50% refund for the prepaid gratuities, Wi-Fi, cheers and bubbles. And then additionally, when you get home, you will receive a 50% refund for your cruise fare as well. So instead of doing the 3-day, this is going to be a 2-day cruise, and it is going to unfortunately not go to a port. We can't find anywhere to go in 2 days. So you're going to get the $100 on board credit. You're going to get the 50% refund at the end of the cruise, and this will be given to the normal form of payment, the original form of payment. Now, 2 days, you're probably thinking, is it worth it? Well, you know what? All I can tell you is that if some of you have been through restless nights, worrying about the weather and everything else, 2 days on board with the crew taking brilliant care of you, comedy shows, great food, dancing, music, cocktails, $100 to spend on board, 50% refund when you get home. Sounds pretty good to me. And those 2 days refuge and relaxation and a chance to refresh, well, they sound pretty good to me. That's Carnival Elation. And
Now, there have also been changes to the Carnival Sunrise and to the Carnival Glory. They are going to also be doing shortened cruises and revised itineraries. So let's see what the brand ambassador had to say about those two ships.
Thank you to everybody there. Let's go to Carnival Glory. And this is the next ship that we need to mention here. And my goodness, it's been another long wait for you, hasn't it, to decide what's going to be happening. Now, we have the ship returning today, Carnival Sunrise returning today. This will be a 3-day instead of a 4-day. It's going to be departing today. The ports visited are going to remain as scheduled. So you're going to go to Half Moon Cay. I don't know the arrival departure times yet. But that will be adjusted and told to you by the captain once you get on board. Now, I know, again, this isn't what you planned for your cruise. That's why, because we're taking a day away from you, you're getting a 25% refund for all prepaid gratuities and all the other stuff, $100 on board credit. And again, when you get home, because we're taking a day away, you're getting a 25% refund for your cruise fare. And that goes back to the original form of payment. So Carnival Sunrise today. I hope you are ready to have an absolutely brilliant time. You'll be leaving today. Embarkation timings and everything will be sent to you. Check your email again. And I do wish you the most brilliant time. And finally, we have the Carnival Glory. And this is a ship that was supposed to be departing today, Friday. It's now going to be leaving Saturday, October the 12th. And we are going to give you a 2-day voyage here, departing Saturday, October the 12th. You're going to visit Freeport from 10 a.m. till 6 a.m. And you can purchase excursions for Freeport once you're on board. You're getting a full-day refund for your prepaid gratuities and all the other things, Wi-Fi, etc. And you're getting $100 on board credit, full refund for all your purchases for shore excursions that you'd planned for Bimini, which we can't go to at the moment. And again, when you get home, you'll receive a full day's refund of your cruise fare. Now, those 3 ships that I mentioned there, and they are Elation, that's Elation and Glory and Sunrise. It might be worthwhile you giving your travel agent, giving us a call, your PVP, because there may be some open cabins. Now, again, I want to reiterate, you're not going to get the $100, but all that stuff, that's for guests that had booked. But you might get a chance to get a great rate on a 2 or 3-day cruise. And finally, for all of those people who are deciding to cruise, still, I thank you so very much. I know some of you can't, and we totally understand. We truly do. But to all of you, for those 3 ships, I hope you're ready to have fun. I really, really do. And that will be waiting for you, a massive dollop of fun on board. Now, I also just want to very briefly mention, I've had already questions. What about Mardi Gras? What about this ship? What about that ship? No news is good news. If you have not heard from us, there are no changes to any other cruise. Okay, so whether it's Celebration from Miami, Mardi Gras from Port Canaveral, we don't have any news. There are no changes. Please don't worry. Unless you hear from us, you have nothing to be concerned about. As I mentioned, hopefully we will be able to get the great news that these ports will be opening in the next few hours once they start to do their inspections. So for now, no news on those ships that I haven't mentioned is good news, and your cruise is going as scheduled on an itinerary as scheduled.
So those are the current changes from Carnival Cruise Lines. And like he says, if your ship's not one of those four, if you're not mentioning the Mardi Gras, the Celebration, or any of the other ships that are sailing out of that particular area, that means there are currently no changes to your sailing, no changes to your itinerary. If anything's going to change, Carnival Cruise Line is going to let you know. Now, we have one last little video clip I want to share with you guys, because while the majority of people, cruisers, experienced cruisers, look, you understand that cruise lines don't control the weather. They don't control the ports, but you know that no matter what, no matter how many times that is said, no matter how many times that information is put out there, there will always be somebody down at the guest services desk saying, I missed my port. Where's my compensation? My itinerary changed. Where's my money? They booked a cruise during hurricane season, but they still think that they are entitled to compensation over something the cruise line has zero control over. So here is the bottom line from Carnival Cruise Line.
I've had a few people, just two or three, but I just wanted to mention it, who have been on ships that have missed ports, not missed home ports, missed outer ports, whether it be Grand Cayman or Cozumel or Progreso, etc., and who are demanding compensation. I just want to be really clear and transparent. And that is, well, we've given you the port charges and taxes and fees back, but I'm afraid we are not going to be giving you onboard credit or a full day's refund or a full refund, as somebody mentioned. I understand some of the seas were choppy. The captains did not and would never sail you into a storm. But what Hurricane Milton did wasn't just affect the areas of Florida. It was like a huge egg whisk going in the ocean, and it just spread that choppy seas out. Now, to say the captain purposely sailed you into a storm, which a few people have done, is absolutely 100% totally not true. I do apologize, and I mean this most sincerely if some of you didn't feel very well with the extra motion of the ship. But I know the captains would have done everything they could. Always trust the captain, always trust the crew, but we would not be giving any compensation for a missed port. Why? Well, we don't control the weather. We don't control the weather. And that's why. And I know the crew would have still taken wonderful, wonderful care of you. And finally, I just want to say two more thank yous, and then you can go back to bed. First thank you is to my colleagues. There are too many names to mention, but from the Fleet Operations Center to Chris and the communications team, to the operations team, to, well, the people working on home ports and liaising with customs, I can't begin to tell you the mammoth task it is to reposition ships, to keep ships away, to reorganize fueling, to do transportation for buses for 2,000 people to go back home. It's a mammoth job. These people, these colleagues of mine that work in the mothership, are never in the spotlight. I wax lyrical about the captains and crew, and rightfully so, every single day. But for my colleagues at home at the mothership, whatever position, whether it's a senior beard or people who just call the bus company and say, I need five, whatever you've done, whether you send out the notices, all the information, whatever you've done, a huge thank you to you. And you've done so, many of you, while under pretty awful weather conditions as well. So a sincere gratitude from me, and I'm sure many of you, for the people at the mothership. And finally, to all of you, thank you so much for your understanding, and thank you for your patience, and feel free to continue to vent at me. That's what I'm here for. So use your cap locks. But I think it's safe to say that 99% of the people that have been affected by this realize that it's something that we couldn't control.
So that is the most up-to-date information we have for any changes from Carnival Cruise Lines, directly from Carnival Cruise Lines brand ambassador John Heel. He talks about the changes being made. He talks about the compensation being offered for those itinerary changes, for those shortened cruises, those missed cruises, what your options are, and even some possibilities if you don't have a cruise booked and want to hop on board a ship. There's some opportunities out there for that also. All right, and that is going to be our video for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day, and like always, we will see you out on the high seas.